Greetings once again from Shelf Life Online. I'd like to bring to your attention two new fiction books that are very highly recommended. A couple of months ago, I had a segment on books that you will find it impossible to put down. Well, the two books today that I would like to discuss are two fiction books you will not be able to put down. The first is The Sentinel by Lee Child and Andrew Child. Now, for the first 24 books in the series, Lee Child has written the Jack Reacher series of books. Now he's teamed with his brother Andrew, who is a writer in his own right, and he writes as Andrew Grant. Well, rumor has it that Lee Child is stepping back from the Jack Reacher fiction book series to concentrate on a new Amazon TV series on Jack Reacher. He is going to oversee it. So it sounds like he's passing the mantle to his brother, Andrew. Does Andrew rank right up there with the greatest of Lee Child's books? Yes, this is typical Jack Reacher. In The Sentinel, Jack, who manages to head from town to town, finds himself in Pleasantville, Texas. It's a very quaint little community, and it seems like a very unassuming town until he finds out something horrible has happened. The town has been hacked by some unknown group, and the head of the IT in that little town, Rusty Rutherford, is an outcast. They blame him for everything that's gone wrong. All the computers are down, the street lights are down. There's very little functioning within the city, and Rusty Rutherford is the scapegoat for it all. He warned them that something like this could happen, but they didn't pay attention, and now it's too late. So Jack Reacher comes to the rescue of the little guy, as he usually does in great Jack Reacher fashion. He finds himself fighting gangs as usual. Jack Reacher's like Superman. He can handle anybody and any situation, and once again he finds himself almost in over his head, but in Jack Reacher style, he escapes. Now he vows to help Rusty Rutherford find the old computers and get to the source of the matter. And once we find what's going on, it has ties to the Cold War, it has ties to Russia, it has ties to American hate groups. It's very complex, but then again, aren't all Jack Reacher books very complex? They are Jack and Rusty are constantly on the run. We think the bad guys are losing, but they come back again and again and again. So The Sentinel is another must-read Jack Reacher book. It is a book, once you open, beware, you will not be closing the pages anytime soon. So you might be having a lot of sleepless nights reading this great, great effort by Lee Child, or rather Andrew Child, who from now on will be taking over the series. So this is the first fiction book, and you should not miss it. Hi, before I draw your attention to the next book, I'd like to add that The Sentinel is published by Delacorte Press, and it retails for $38.99. Now, book two here of the books we cannot put down is Dean Koontz again. Dean Koontz has written since I think about 75, 76. I think this is his 78th book. And all his books are bestsellers. All his books are classics. And Elsewhere is another one of these books that once you pick it up, once you start it, don't put it down. You won't be able to. This is published by Thomas N. Mercer, and it retails for $34.99. Now, in a Dean Koontz book, there's always a psychological aspect, and this is heavy psychological, heavy suspense, a bit of science fiction, fantasy, a lot of things thrown in. And so the book revolves around Jeffy Coltrane and his daughter Amity. Their mother left them, their mother Michelle left about 7 years ago. And they live a rather simple life in the place is called Suavidid Beach. And there they meet a man. He seems to be a homeless man who they call Ed. Amity calls him Mr. Spooky because he sort of frightens her a bit, but he's a kindly old man. And one day he gives them a box with a key in it, and he says, "Never open this box." Well, when you say never open something, the temptation is always there. So they look inside the box and they find a key. They have no idea at first what it is. And then a man from the National Security, John Falkirk, comes and with his agents, and they tear the house apart. And he doesn't tell them what he's looking for, but they figure it is the key and the box. Sure enough, once they figure out the key, it takes them from their world to the multiverse. There are many multiverses, like parallel worlds, where we are living different lives, and they bounce from world to world to world, and they find desolate worlds. They find a world where robots are in control, and they know that John Falkirk wants the key, because once you have the key, you can control everything. And it is really suspenseful as they bounce from place to place. Once or twice, Jeffy and Amity lose contact, and they wonder if they're ever going to get back together again because they're separated by multiverses. So, in a Dean Koontz book, expect everything, and you get everything. As the book progresses, it just gets more tense. They see the mother Michelle on another multiverse, and she thinks that Jeffy and Amity died in the real world, and it's very complex. Like I said, you will not be able to put this book down. This is classic Dean Koontz. You can never go wrong with a Dean Koontz book. He is up there in the literary stratosphere with the likes of Stephen King. So if you want a book that is tension-filled and a joy to read from start to finish, go for Elsewhere. You won't find a better book elsewhere. So anyways, those are the two books for this week, The Sentinel and Elsewhere. And I'll be back soon. And once again, as I always say, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, stay safe and keep reading those books. Bye for now.